Hi there. You are listening to A Founder's Life, and I'm your host, Leo Gestetner. My guests and myself share our entrepreneurial journey and our methods for a balanced life. I'm joined here today by Justin Krane. Justin, thank you for joining me today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is the Honorable Justin Krane. I'm trying to say that with a British accent, but I can't. So I'm no longer honorable. I'm just a normal guy on a podcast show being a guest from a brilliant guy, Leo G.
Thank you. And do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm a financial advisor. I started in the business advising and managing my clients' personal money and helping them work towards financial independence. And then I kind of just gravitated to working with business owners and realized that their business money is really the engine that funds their goals. So I taught myself business money strategy, financial statements and all that. And our tagline is uniting money with life and business. So we help business owners be smart and strategic with their money. We manage their personal money for them, and we create financial plans to help them work towards being financially independent.
Excellent. And what was the journey that sort of got you to where you are now?
I think part of it is you have to be ready to pivot when you think it's the right move. And if you're not ready personally, either you're going through something personally or you're not ready to grow, you might just feel like you're treading water or stuck. So when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that was what happened. I started working with clients and I'm like, who's advising you on your business money so that you can, like, I'd ask them, like, how much can you pull out of your business so that you can put $100,000 away? They're like, I don't know. I'm just winging it. I'm guessing. So I was like, okay, they have a bookkeeper, they have an accountant, but where's the money strategy on the business side and the planning to take the money out of the business, which means you got to be smart with the money you're leaving in the business so that you can be aware of how much you can take out. And it was just a time for me when I was like going through two key things personally got me to the place where I was ready to grow. One was a divorce and the other one was when my dad died. And those two things were pivotal moments for me personally. And at the same time, I was ready for a change and it just happened.
And when was that? When did you move into your
That was in
current?
1892 and 1905, back when I was about 20 years old.
Been doing it for a while.
I have, yeah. No, it was like, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. I mean, I'm remarried and married 10 years with my second wife. So about 15 years ago with the divorce and about 7 years ago when my father passed away.
And what does family mean to you?
I think it means like connection. And the part of the reason why I'm pausing is because my kids are 22, 20, and 17. Like they're on their way. So family, when they were little was connection and time together and all of that. Now family for me with my kids, the first thing that comes to mind is providing, legacy, and teaching. Because they're all, they're out of the house. Two of them are out of the house. They're living their own lives. And I'm not involved with them day to day. And I'm not, changing poopy diapers like I was ages ago.
And have they stayed local at all, or are they all over the country?
I got two that are in Colorado. One's in Denver. The other one's in Boulder. Yeah.
Well, it's nice. They're not
How
too
many
far
kids do you
apart.
have? Do you have any kids?
I have two. I've got a 22-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son.
Okay. Are they
My
at home or are they abroad?
So my daughter is a senior at USC, so she's not at home, but she is in LA. My son is a freshman at Northeastern over in Boston.
Cool. That's awesome.
So, and that was really the impetus for me of sort of moving to a sort of a traveling and digital nomad style lifestyle was when my son left home a few months ago. It was a good opportunity to move to a new lifestyle, and I'll still always be there when they're around.
We have a question from the peanut gallery. There's a couple people they're behind me. You can't see them with this lovely background, but they don't know where Northeastern is. Where is that? Like Hawaii or what?
It's in Boston.
Boston. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Northeastern's in Boston. All right.
Great school, actually. They got some pretty unique programs, and Boston's a fun city. I think Boston is the most collegiate big town in America.
Yeah. Wasn't it freezing there like a week ago? Like really cold?
I mean, it's Boston. It'll be freezing for a few months.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yes, I think that's the shock of LA to Boston. But to be fair, Colorado is not exactly warm either. Although it's
It's
probably
different.
actually Boston is probably colder.
Yeah, Boston and all the East Coast, it's like wet, windy, just really, really bad. Boulder, Colorado, it's a drier cold, and the sun is out a lot.
It's one of the things I've always loved about LA when I moved there from the UK 15 years ago was whatever the weather is like, by lunchtime, the sun is out. Like the
Yeah.
UK,
Forget it.
put aside it not being good weather, the sun just often isn't out. Like it can be very cloudy, even if it's a nice day.
Yeah.
It's not a blue sky
Yeah.
day. I mean, LA
Does
is a
anyone in
blue
the
sky
UK have
day.
like a tan?
Yes, they go away for it.
Yeah, they go away. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Lots of people have a tan,
Wild.
but not from the UK.
Yeah.
Although that's where you get all the lobsters, all the Brits who suddenly sing sun for 5 minutes and they're all bright red because they've
Totally.
been catching sun and they haven't seen it for the rest of the year. I think they all go to Spain and places like that. But yes, you're not getting. There was a great Instagram somebody sent me recently of what to do in the UK in winter, and it was some guy at the airport with a suitcase.
Exactly. Get out of Dodge.
I often say to people, I don't have a problem with the UK winter, which is not 100% true. I actually do. But putting that aside, what I have a problem with in the UK is the lack of a summer. You just don't have a defined summer. You may have a week of great weather. Yes, you may have no weather. And that week of great weather, by the way, may be in April. It may rain every day in August. Most places have seasons. The UK thinks it has seasons, but it doesn't really, because one of the seasons is summer, and the UK doesn't have a defined summer season.
Yeah.
But it's one of the nice
tough.
things. I'm in Porto, in Portugal right now.
Well, you are.
Yes, it'll be, they tell me it'll be a little rainy. I actually haven't seen much rain yet, but they tell me the winter's rainy. But even though it's rainy, it's still, I think it's 57 degrees today.
Okay.
So it's a little colder. It's a touch colder than LA, but not actually bad. It's pretty temperate. It's just more rainy, but actually weather-wise, it's pretty nice.
Awesome.
And it's the same time zone as the UK, so it's actually an hour closer to the US than mainland Europe. So it's good.
What do you?
US
So
work.
you're in Portugal, and what do you like? How long have you been floating for?
Well, really, only a few months. So you could say now. I mean, I've spent time over here. My business partner lives in Portugal, and I've sort of spent a month here at a time. But it's only as of 2025 that I am sort of formally moving to a sort of more digital nomad lifestyle. So I'll spend, roughly half the year, probably just under half the year here, about a third of the year in the US, and the rest of it, I don't know. Wherever it feels.
How is that going for you? Like, what are you learning about yourself just in these 3 weeks of being there?
That's a fair question. It hasn't been 3 weeks, but ask me in 6 months. And, I'll be back in LA in almost in about 3 weeks. In fact, I've got a marathon, hopefully in Ventura, assuming the fires aren't too bad. I know the Rose Bowl got cancelled last week. So I don't know. Ventura, there was a fire, but I don't know how the air quality is. So hopefully that doesn't get cancelled. But
that's awesome.
Hopefully LA gets some rain because that's what we actually need. I know it's got a little bit forecast this weekend, but LA really needs some real rain to both put out the fires, but also to get rid of all the crap on the streets. I mean, it needs to be washed out. I mean, all the pollution.
Yeah, they're also talking about if the rain. The rain and the mudslides and also the environmental like sloth of the ash and everything. I've heard some people talk about how it may not be the best thing. It's good to put out the fires, but in terms of the air and the quality of the air with the rain, I don't know. We'll have to see. You probably are a rain expert coming from the UK, so you might know something.
I don't know too much of it. Although my father told me a few years ago that LA gets a similar amount of rain. I don't know if he's right or not. Maybe not this winter, but actually generally gets a similar amount of rain as London. It's just that London gets it smaller amounts all year round, whereas LA gets big amounts, but for a short period of time.
Could be right.
He may not be. I never verified it. So what's health mean to you? how do you like to keep healthy? What does
Wow.
health, whether that be
Oh my
fitness,
God.
nutrition, what does that sort
I
of?
can't believe you asked that because I've gone on this like totally new journey tracking my blood sugar and working with a health coach, like a brand new health coach. I've never done this before. The old me would like get tired at 3 or 4 o'clock during the day, want to take like either a nap or meditate, but just a reset. Um, Not sleeping as well. And I knew, like, I tried Weight Watchers and I've lost weight with that, but it wasn't sustainable for me. And I'm learning how to eat by having a contiguous glucose monitor, one of the patches that you inject in your arm and it stays in there. And then you track it with an app and you can see what your blood sugar is. And it is so much fun. I look at it all the time. I'm looking at it right now. I'm at 120. That's because I had eggs and coffee a little while ago, but I'm on this whole new plan. So fun. Health at this point, I think, is for me to be alive at 85 and healthy so that I can see my grandkids. That's really what it's about for me. And feeling good today, of course. But I'm always thinking about the future and planning, being a certified financial planner. I'm like, all right, I want to be around.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about health span rather than longevity, which is really what you're saying, which is being healthy until you die. I don't
Yeah.
want to live to 120. I have no interest in that, but I want to be healthy until I die. I don't want a slow decline. And so how long have you been wearing the continuous glucose monitor?
Let's see, maybe 2 months. And
Nice. Will
it's a
you
different,
wear it for a while, like ongoing, or
yeah,
do you think
yeah,
you'll
I'll wear it for another couple months. This one though is a very, and I'll tie in a business concept with this, but it's like with Weight Watchers, you can lose like 4 or 5 pounds very, very quick right off the bat. So it's a quicker result. With this glucose monitor stuff, it's a much smaller result. So we always talk about in business, like make a 1% change, just do something different 1%. And if you do that, you can compound a result, whether it's investing or making a change in your business. This is that way. Like my average blood sugar was like for the day was like 113 2 months ago. And now it's at, I think 105, maybe 105. So it's slowly changed and I've only lost about 4 pounds, but I think it's going to be more sustainable and it's been a better ride.
I often talk about, I mean, I don't know if you know, but I've lost 95 pounds. If you'd have met me 20
Unreal.
years ago, I was very different to what I am now. I saw the fittest time in my life. And I think,
It's amazing.
one of the things is exactly what you said, which is it's those small changes because small changes are sustainable. The problem
Yes.
with big changes and the problem with diets, I don't believe in diets. I believe changing your diet. If you go on a diet, that means that diet ends at some point. And much better to change your diet. And that's not 100% of the time. It's 80-20. You
Yeah.
are generally eating pretty healthy.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like having something different. Oh, well, that's not a big issue.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The
it's,
other thing,
it's,
the other thing, Leo, is that I had no clarity about what I was doing. I wasn't aware at all about what I was eating and how it was affecting me. It's in life and in business. If you know that you don't know something, you can figure it out and hire a who to help you. If you don't know that you don't know something and you're not even aware of it, first you got to find someone or read something to make you aware of it. So I didn't even know about this blood sugar tracking. I had no idea until I met a buddy of mine who was working with this coach who I'm now working with. And that got me going. So I think in business, especially with money, you need clarity. You need to be aware of the fact that you either have clarity or you don't. And if you don't, you either have to figure it out on your own, which is way harder, or you hire someone that knows it, that can just teach it to you, which of course it costs you money, but it'll shorten the amount of time and the learning curve. And it's not as taxing and it's not as much, there's not as much energy that you have to put out and the anxiety and the stress, especially with money. If you can put some of that or that responsibility on someone else who's going to teach it to you, it's a way better experience. So
makes sense. And are you
yeah,
working with sort of a general health coach who does like fitness and things as well, or is it very much
yeah,
nutritionist?
yeah. Like that's the thing is that like I feel like I can ask him anything about anything. and he's pretty much going to know enough about it to help me. And he specializes in blood sugar, but he was a weightlifter. Like it's so crazy. Like the things that he's advised me to do are completely whacked. Like they're crazy. Like I never would have thought of any of this, but when I put it together,
What
it's
kind of thing?
working. Like, okay, so I'm like drinking this, like, this is a new thing I'm just incorporating today. It's called psyllium husk fiber. I have no idea what that is. It keeps you regular, right? It's a microbiome. So this is a new thing that we're dropping in. He's had me do apple cider vinegar. He's had me have some MCT oil. We're taking way less sugar or way more sugar out of my diet, having way less. Eating protein first before having coffee, taking some digestive enzymes. And then the other thing is tracking my blood sugar while I'm eating, before I eat, what's my waking blood sugar, and then also incorporating, which is eating a protein, fat, and carb every 3 or 4 hours. So that is weird for me. It's just weird. Like when we're hungry, like we eat one thing. Now it's like I'm eating 3 things every time for 3 or 4 hours.
So that's 4 meals a day?
Yeah, no, I'm having a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. But in between that, I'm having weird, like, I'll have a little bit of a protein bar, a couple of almonds, like that. Or like I never ate healthy fats. I didn't even know what a healthy fat was. Like if you stopped 30 people on the street and be like, give me 5 healthy fats, they would not know. I had no idea what a healthy fat was. 0. Just like someone might know what a P&L is, or, an IRA is. I had no
What
idea.
healthy fats do you eat?
Nuts and avocado. That for me is what I'm doing, because I'm always on the go. I'm like, okay, well then, like I can't cook anything, or, it's not like I'm going to bring some olive oil with me or something, but like it's primarily nuts and maybe avocado when I'm in the right area.
And what's breakfast and lunch look like for you?
So breakfast now is I have 8 ounces of water with this Zyve digestive enzyme. Then I have 2 scrambled eggs, one that's egg white, and the other one's with egg, because it's too much for me. Then I eat that. So that's in my body. Then I'll have the coffee with some MCT oil, and that's it. I used to have like a biscotti or a sweet wafer with coffee and no protein. So that's gone. That's the biggest change. Then a lunch is a salad. And what I used to do is eat a lot of bread, too much bread, which would spike my blood sugar and then make me crash. So now it's a salad with a small amount of almonds, and that's it. Then it's
With some
3 or 4.
protein in the salad?
Yeah, chicken. Yeah. So, chicken, tomatoes, lettuce, like that, and that's it. Then at 3, I'll have a chomps stick, a turkey like stick, and then some almonds. And if I'm not on the go, I'll try and find a vegetable if I can. That's hard though. It's the prep on that is a little hard, but you can do it. Then at dinner, I'll have a protein, and mostly veggies. And then what I'm doing is I'm having a little bit of a carb, but not a lot of complex carbs, not a ton of rice, not gobs of bread. I forgot to mention that I do have a protein shake at like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a completely, like in the start, it was a total shit show, but now like I'm making progress.
Yeah, it's, I follow a similar kind of diet, not quite as structured as you, because I don't have the patience, and I don't need to be quite as structured. I am high protein, low carbs. I don't eat a ton of carbs. Yeah, I will sometimes because I feel like it, but generally very low carb, very high protein. Yeah, I don't eat a ton of fats beyond nuts. I do eat nuts. That is my kryptonite.
What kind of nuts do you have? What do you have?
So when I'm at home, I've got sort of like a mix I make. So I've got almonds, walnuts, cashews, pecans, and sort of my nuts. And I actually have started putting raisins in my nut mix as well, because I like that little bit of sugar.
Yeah.
And as part of the nuts, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, one of those things I learned was, a handful of nuts, actually a lot of calories.
Yeah.
Actually, I got big hands.
Yeah. So yeah. In my diet, my coach is like, dude, don't worry about the calories. Don't even worry about that. He's just working on my blood sugar. He's like, if you can get your blood sugar under control, you can release more stored fat, that whole thing. And by the way, I don't even know. That's about as much as I know. But we're going at it a different way. I think ultimately we'll arrive at lower calories, but I am having only a handful of nuts, not 5 handfuls. So,
It's fine.
you know,
That's working for you.
you know what? It's interesting because there's multiple ways in life and in business to come at a problem. And maybe one path or one way might not be the best for someone. And you might have to pivot and do something different to work towards a different result. Or you might have to put something off and gain some progress and momentum in another aspect of your business or with your money. You focus on that, you gain some progress, confidence, and momentum, and then you come back to it. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think, there isn't one thing that fits all. So you work out what's right for you, and it sounds like you've got a good solution. And then at some point, you'll be able to stop using the glucose monitor, and maybe, at some point, you'll probably stop seeing the coach, and that'll just become your new norm. So
Yeah,
you'll
totally.
be able to follow something along those lines. For example, I do my fiber first thing in the morning. Within 5 minutes of waking up, I've had my fiber. But I've had a lot of water, so I'm drinking that early on.
I need to drink more water. Like I drink some, but like, man, I need to drink all the water in Great Britain. All the rain that comes, I have to drink it all.
I used to have a friend in the UK who super fit. I mean, he's sub 10% body fat, and he starts the day off with 2 liters of water.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually work out a ton these days, but eats well. Starts the day with, as I said, a lot of water, and that sort of got me into the habit of, the body needs water.
Good point. Good point. I think what was happening is when I had my coffee, so I'd have a latte, like a strong latte with 1% milk, that I was having that before the water. If you drink a lot of water before the coffee, you're not as craving of the coffee, at least for me. I
don't drink coffee.
Oh, man.
I get my caffeine from other sources, but I don't drink coffee.
I'm very sorry. You're missing out. You're missing out on good stuff. All right, what else are we talking about? I'm sorry to digress on health.
What do you like to do for fun?
Well, I love to run. I love running, like jogging, although my knees can't put up with all the running that I want to do. So I try to run. I usually do Orange Theory, which is like a HIIT class, high intensity interval. So I do that. That really makes me feel good. What else? I love anything having to do with Italy. I love their wine. I speak their language. I've been there countless times. And I also spiritually, with my faith, just learning and growing in that direction. So a little bit of everything.
Nice. I'm a big runner. I did a 3-hour run this morning.
Wow.
I used to do Orange Theory, and I stopped it probably 10 years ago. And the reason I stopped it was there is a limit to how often I can run. Funny enough, there doesn't seem to be a limit to distance as such, but there's a limit to how often. And I realized I was wasting running days at Orange Theory. Yeah. And I didn't want the workout I enjoy, as in, doing the weights, doing the upper body, doing all that kind of stuff. But for my running, I like to have a decent run. I did my first marathon a couple of months ago. I've actually got 2 marathons this year I'll be doing.
That's so cool.
Actually,
my knees can't handle it. Like my knees cannot handle running outside, even if it's on trails or concrete, you name it. And my running form has gotten better, but they cannot handle, my legs can't. It's just pounding. The treadmill at Orange Theory, my legs can handle.
That's fair enough. Your family works well for you.
I'm jealous. A 3-hour run, that's awesome.
That's so cool. That'll be the longest run before the marathon I've got coming up in 4 weeks.
Where is the marathon?
Ventura. It's quite a fun one. I've done the Ventura as a half marathon a few times. I've never done it as a marathon. The fun thing about the Ventura is it's Ojai to Ventura. So it's a gentle downhill.
Wow, that's a beautiful run.
Actually, it's a nice run. You get your personal best because it's a pretty easy one, but it's not too much downhill, because downhill is not great for the body. But this is a really gentle downhill. So it's a really nice run. As I said, I've done the half marathon, and I've done some unbelievable times in the half marathon. It'll be fun doing it as a marathon.
What's your average time? I know it could be 5 hours or 4, but what's your average minute, like per mile, that you're trying to run for the marathon? Like a 10-minute mile, or 11 or 9 or 12? I don't know.
Well, I'll give it to you in a time for a minute. So my fastest half marathon was 1:38:50.
Pretty fast.
I've only done one marathon, and I was I was on target until mile 18 and a half. Is a whole, if you're interested to see the journey, there's an article on my blog about this. Until 18 and a half, I was on target to do a 3:35 marathon. And then I hit the wall and my legs were like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
So there's some great pictures of the next 7 miles, me sort of walking, wearing a little of myself, thinking, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But I'm happy to say I finished it, and I actually finished it in sub 4. So I was
Wow.
3:59.50,
That's
including basically
insane.
walking the last 7 miles, especially the last mile. I was like barely able to move, but I was like, and I
Wow.
just 10 seconds under 4, so I was fine with that.
Oh my
So what do
God.
I expect to do? I mean, I should be a sub 3:45.
Jesus.
I don't know how sub that. It depends. I'm yeah, decent, especially
That
for
is
someone who's 51.
amazing.
I've got faster as I've got older.
That's amazing.
I enjoy it. And so the question is, my next question for you, can you stop working? How do you switch off? How do you
Man,
switch off?
that is a very, okay, just for people that were listening to you about the marathon, a 4-hour marathon is a 9-minute mile. That's pretty cool. That's amazing.
So
How do I,
I'm running sub, yeah, I mean, my typical run is low 8,
that's
low 8 minutes. And I was
insane.
doing a half marathon, I'll be in the 7s
That's insane.
to do the kind of time I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a very, very hard time not working. I love what I do and I'm in growth mode and I have staff and I try and delegate and I'm not a major micromanager. The way that I do it is I'm Jewish. I don't work between Friday night and Saturday night. I'm on my phone, but I'm definitely not working. I put the work off and then I'll, read something, learn something, whether it's Jewish stuff or just a book or watch something on Netflix or whatever. But like my challenge, everyone has challenges in life, is stepping into like a CEO role in business and still being the person that does the work. As you begin to do more of the CEO work, you either need people to do the doer work, or you have to figure out a balance of time and energy in doing that. That's my challenge. It's not a struggle. A struggle is like, oh, it sucks, I don't want to deal with it. This is a challenge that I actually embrace, and I think it's awesome to try and figure it out. And I haven't figured it out. I'm on a good path, but I'm not all buttoned up. So Friday to Saturday night is where I don't work, and it is a good respite for me.
And are you going to shul on Friday or Saturday?
Friday, not Saturday.
Not
Yeah,
Saturday.
for Friday for me.
Nice. So you're not completely showing a Shabbat, but you are going to shul.
Yeah. So like, I'm not kosher, but I go to an Orthodox temple Friday night. Saturday, I could, if I wanted to, go to shul or temple, but the way that they do it is you're there for like 5 hours. It's mostly in Hebrew, and it's not effective for me. What's more effective for me is to read something and learn something in English and do it in a way that I could get the most, for lack of a better word, mileage out of it.
That's great. I don't go to shul very often. I should, but I don't. I did do a number of years ago when my son was young. I went to Israel and I did some one-on-one learning with some top rabbis at a
That's
yeshiva
great.
there. It's the Executive Learning Center. That was fun, actually. I met some really fascinating rabbis and I really enjoyed that. That was my kind of learning.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like the outside world that's not Jewish, when you're like Orthodox Torah, like they think black hat, pay us like the guys with the coats and all that. And like the kind of stuff that I'm doing is like, these are normal guys that are basically teaching you how to refine your character traits. It's not verse 2, chapter 1, this says that. It's really, for me, the part that I'm doing is more on how can you be a better CEO? How can you be a better husband? How can you be a better father? How can you have a relationship with God? And how can you be kind to yourself and be the best version of yourself? That's the stuff I'm learning.
It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And what has been a pivotal moment in your life, whether personally or business?
The first time was when I was probably like 28 and I went to like a financial advisor conference, and this guy, Jim Stovall, came on stage. He was an Olympic weightlifting champion who was blind. and he gave a speech. And, we all have these moments where like you feel like a speaker is talking exactly to you. Like there's 1,000 people in the room, but you feel like he's talking to you. And he just was funny because he's making all these blind jokes and he's on stage, he's blind and he's talking. He had me right away. And his whole message was that we all have the power to choose. We all have the power to make choices and to set ourselves up for a path towards freedom. But we can own our today and own our tomorrow if we choose. And in my 20s, I wasn't really choosing. I was just doing, and I was like an ant marching. So that was the first time that I actually became aware that I could choose to do what I want, and that I have to believe in myself to do it. I didn't get that from my father, and I wasn't doing that personally. So that was a pivotal moment. Literally, I'm just sitting there and this guy's talking. He's like, you have the power to choose. And it was all about a story that he told a boy who was blind, who couldn't tie his shoes, that this boy had the power to choose to either learn to tie his shoes blind or not. And that was it. That was the start for me that made me aware that I had to make choices.
Sounds like it gave you that eye-opening experience that you needed.
Yes.
And how does a balanced life look for you? And when I say that, no one's permanently in balance. We go up
Yeah.
and down. We have times that we're focused on more than one thing or the other. But generally, how does a balanced life look?
I think for me, it's balance means you're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you're not extreme, and your life isn't like consuming you either with bad health or stress or something like that. So I think I am actually living a balanced life. And that's, for me, it's like spiritual growth, health and exercise, growing financially, travel, and living for today and not just for tomorrow. It's not easy for me to do, but like, again, like when my dad died, I'm like, "Oh, I'm not going to live until I'm 300 years old. I do have to face my mortality. So I might as well try and get what's called a return on life, which is something I talk about all of the time with clients. It's not just ROI, it's return on life. That's living a balanced life. And what's great about it, Leo, is everyone gets to define what that is for them.
I like return on life. So describe more about sort of your philosophies around those kind of things in terms of that you talk to clients about.
Well, one for me personally was in 2019, I took my daughter to Italy after her bat mitzvah as like a gift, which was like a pretty cool gift. Like what kid gets to go to Italy for a bat mitzvah, but we did it. And 2 months later, we, as a family, went to London and Israel. Now, for me, that was way too much money, way too much traveling, and just too much. And it was hard to go away for 10 days, come back for 2.5 weeks, then fly back to London, and then to Israel with my whole family for like 2 weeks. So I was gone for 3 weeks in a period of 3 months. It was very, very expensive. And I felt fragmented and not on like a normal routine. Then COVID comes, and I'm now looking back at 2019, and I'm like, you know what? That was one of the best decisions I made. In the moment, I'm like freaking out. But then with the balanced life, return on life, I had no idea that COVID was going to happen. Return on life is using your money in a way that you can merge it and put it in the context of your life and what you want. So to me, that's a way of doing that. And then working with clients, I often will ask them, like, if you had all of the money in the world, what would you do? And when money isn't an object, the real motivators and the real goals come out. And I asked one of my clients, and she was single at the time. She's like, I'd be a mom. And I advised her on a path of all of the, IVFs and all that stuff, genetic things that she could do. And it didn't work. We created a plan for that. It didn't, because it's expensive. And then we created a new financial plan to adopt a kid. I advised her to stop contributing to her 4K to cash in her stock options, to put a lot of money in cash. And she made the decision to adopt. And she went down that path. We prepared for it financially. I just spoke with her a few days ago. She's got a 13-year-old boy who's about to have a bar mitzvah. And she's a mom, and she's working, and she's okay. And that's a return on life. I mean, that's just, I'm like, I'm going to go up to the Bima, which is the stage where you go for the bar mitzvahs, and I'm going to go do something with this kid and my client. Unreal. I said to her, I'm like, I hope I don't break down, because like, I don't know, it's a very meaningful way to think about money in life when you use it to do what you want that really brings meaning to you, really meaning and really purpose.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So how can people find you?
Well, I have a website and, all of that. I would just say Google me. You can find me on LinkedIn or my site. I mean, I'll give you my site. It's Krane with a K, KraneFinancialSolutions.com. I'm on LinkedIn. You could probably drive to my house, like whatever it is that people want to do.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and leave a review.